It was my 11th grade year of high school. It was still a couple of months before I had my Ilizarov surgery. There was a church dance scheduled for the evening. Two of my friends would be around. One friend said that he would pick us up. The other friend would come to my house so that there would only be one stop. Bill showed up as planned. The dance hadn't started yet, but as that time got closer, Tom still hadn't come by with his car. I called Tom's house. There was no answer. The dance was about to start. The church building was probably a half a mile away at the most. Bill and I were used to walking places. I didn't know it, but that choice to walk was the first step to setting a major event into motion. I could not have predicted what was about to happen, or that I would get an award for my part in it. Bill and I took off for the church building on foot. We probably got there in about 10 or 15 minutes. The dance had already started, and for that little town, it was hopping. The dance hall was full of people. Bill and I found a bunch of our friends, and we all got into the spirit of dancing. We had been having fun for about an hour, and someone suggested that we all take a break. We headed to the foyer of the church. It was lined with couches that were excellent for sitting, and it was directly attached by a door to the dance area. I didn't really feel like sitting, but Bill sat down. I was standing in the doorway between the foyer and the dance hall. There were several doorways going in and out of the dance hall. One of them happened to lead directly to the outside. I was looking at that doorway when Tom walked through it. It was at that moment that step 2 for the major event arrived. I don't know how or why, but a plan entered my brain instantly. I turned to Bill and said, "Hey, I need you to do something for me." Bill said, "What's that?" I replied quickly, "Stay here." Bill immediately responded, "Okay." I shut the door behind me and I headed straight for Tom. Tom was looking for Bill and I, and it didn't take long for Tom to see me coming toward him. He started saying, "Aaron, I'm sorry that I didn't pick you up. I ran over to your house and your parents said that you'd walked." I kind of interrupted Tom. I said importantly, "Don't worry about that. Did you hear about what happened to Bill?" Tom immediately became concerned and said, "No, what happened?" I paused and I got all choked up. I said, "Bill got into a car accident." "What?" Tom asked in surprise. "Is Bill okay?" "No, he isn't," I answered solemnly. Tom repeated urgently, "What happened?" I said, "You know Bill drove to the city today, right?" "Yeah," Tom said. "You know what a terrible driver he is, right?" "Yeah," Tom said again. At this point, tears started flowing from my eyes, and I told Tom, "Bill was driving back home through the canyon. He missed a turn and slammed into one of the cliffs. He's at the local hospital. An emergency helicopter has been sent from the city, but they don't think he's going to make the trip." I was bawling my eyes out at that point. Tom's face went absolutely pale, and that's when step 3 of the major event happened. I said, "Tom, you look like you need to sit down." "Yeah," Tom almost whispered. I walked Tom to the foyer, where Bill was alive and well. Bill had no idea what I had just told Tom. I opened the door to the foyer and stepped inside. I hoped that Tom would go in, but he didn't. He just kind of stood there at the door. So I walked into the foyer, hoping that Tom would follow me in. He did follow me in. I probably should have thought this through a little longer than I did, but as soon as Tom walked through the door, Bill saw him and shouted cheerily, "Hi, Tom!" Tom's head whipped unnaturally straight at Bill. I could see the thought processes going on in Tom's mind as Tom glared disbelievingly at Bill. Bill was alive after all! Yay! That's how I thought it was going to go. It didn't at all. Tom looked back in my direction with hellfire in his eyes. I turned around and bolted for the double doors behind me that led to the outside as fast as I possibly could. I slammed both sets of doors shut behind me, but Tom burst through them like a crazed lunatic. I turned the corner and ran down the concrete walkway. I could hear Tom's footfalls not far behind me. Across the street from the church, there was a cemetery. I figured that if I could get to the cemetery, I could lose Tom in there. I had no other choice but to outrun him. The problem was that the church building sat directly next to the road. In the gathering darkness, I saw the headlights of a car heading down the side of the church towards me. I either had to face Tom or the car. I maybe should have picked the car, because when I swerved off of the concrete onto the grassy yard, I tried to turn and say, "I'm sorry, Tom," but I got to the O in sorry when Tom plowed right into me. We both hit the ground. I tried to scramble away from him, but he jumped on me like a raging tiger. He got me into a headlock and he started shouting, "Say you're sorry! You better say you're sorry to me!" I was trying to say sorry, but I couldn't because Tom was choking me. At that point, all of our friends from the foyer who saw Tom chase after me came around the corner of the church to the scene of Tom choking me and shouting at me. Our friends started shouting at Tom, "Tom, why are you trying to unalive Aaron. Let him go, Tom. And Tom did let go of me. Thank goodness. Everyone was shouting at Tom and I. What's going on? What happened? Tom got to his feet and shouted back. Why don't you ask Aaron what's going on? During one of the awards ceremonies at the end of that school year, I got an award, a certificate of achievement. It was titled the Wrath of Tom Award. I may still be the only person on the planet to win that particular award.